All right, guys, the mic is hot. Okay, the mic is hot, guys. All right, we are live with another one, guys. Okay, live with another one. Okay, welcome to the channel. This is OE MMA TV. I'm your host, OE. Like and subscribe if you are new to the channel. It takes minimal effort to give me the thumbs up, so you might as well do it. Thank you for supporting independent MMA media, guys. And like I always say, this is your channel, the only channel where the fans come first, not last. All right, guys. You already know the topic of discussion today, guys. All right, this is my UFC Fight Night predictions for this Saturday. For this Saturday's card, headlined by Charles Oliveira versus Mateusz Gamrot. Okay, I'm gonna try to keep this UFC fight predictions video under 25 minutes. So bear with me, guys. When it comes to my UFC fight predictions, guys, for 2025, I am 222 wins and 149 losses. That is 222 wins and 149 losses. All right, we're going to continue getting these dubs. I'm way above 500 at this point. Let's go. All right, we're going to start right at the top, okay? We got Luan Lusader, Luan Lasarter versus Simon Oliveira. We got Luan Lusader versus Simon Oliveira. All right, guys. Look, Luan Lusader. Luan Lusader is 1-1. Excuse me, is 1-1. Simon Oliveira is 0-2 in his last fight. Okay. I like Luan. I really do. I like Luan. I think he has a lot of capabilities. You know what I mean? He's a good grappler. You know, but even though he's a good grappler, he has power in his hands. So he's not afraid to strike at all. You know what I mean? He is not afraid to strike at all. Preferably, Luan, he wants to take the fight to the ground. He wants to utilize that good grappling to his advantage. But when it comes to Simon Oliveira, I mean, in his last two fights, I mean, he hasn't really shown a lot of abilities. Don't get me wrong. He has, some good wrestling, some okay, grappling skills. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is, it's there, but I don't imagine Simon Oliveira really, having that power punch that Luan has. Luan can go in there and really implement a good game plan, you know what I mean, and utilize that good grappling against Simon. And not only that, like I said, Luan has capabilities with his hands. So if he lets his hands go early, I mean, Luan can, possibly hit Oliveira cleanly to the point where, now Luan can follow him to the ground and utilize that good grappling. So in my prediction, guys, I'm going to go for Luan Lusader to beat Simon Oliveira. I think he's going to beat him by, he's going to beat him by unanimous decision, guys. Okay. Maverick. How you doing, Maverick? Welcome back to your channel. Welcome back to your chat, man. How you been, man? What is going on with you? This is my UFC fight predictions for this card this Saturday, headlined by Charles Oliveira and Mateusz Gamrot. Okay, Mateusz Gamrot coming on short notice, excuse me, but it should be a great night, guys. All right, moving on. We got Julia Palastri. All right, Julia Palastri versus Carolina Kowalkiewicz. Okay. Julia, she is 1-1 in her last two. Carolina Kowalkiewicz, she's 0-2. Okay, in her last two fights. I mean, this is a tough one for me, guys. Main bout should be a banger. It should definitely be a banger. It should definitely be a banger, Maverick. We're gonna see. We're gonna see if Mateusz Gamrot goes in there and makes it a banger. Okay, but going back to this predictions, Julia versus Kowalkiewicz. I mean, this is a tough one for me, man. You know what I mean? Because in my opinion, this is a toss-up. Julia, she's young. She's an up-and-comer. She has a lot of abilities. She can strike. She can grapple, preferably. She wants to keep the fight standing. Like I said, she's 1-1 in her last two. Kowalkiewicz 0-2 in her last two fights. Has taken some tough losses. But Kowalkiewicz has fought the who's who in that division. She's been in the UFC for a long time, fighting high caliber, fighters in that division. Now, Kawakowicz is very crafty, man. That's why this is a toss-up, guys, because I see a lot of the times where you have these up-and-comers like Julia, go up against, these veterans who are really, really crafty in, Carolina Kawakowicz. But, usually Julia, you expect Julia to win this fight, but I'm telling you, Carolina Kawakowicz, she's super crafty. She has a lot of abilities. Like I said, she's fought the who's who in that division. Okay, so this is a toss-up, man. This is going to be a tough one for me to pick, but man, I'm gonna pick Julia to win this fight. Just, I think the mileage is finally catching up to Kawakowicz, and that's the reason why, as of recent, she hasn't really looked the same. Like the old Kawakowicz, where she was on a crazy, fight win streak. I believe she was on a 3 or 4 fight win streak prior to this, prior to these 0-2 losses. So I'm gonna pick Julia to win this fight. But guys, don't be surprised if Kawakowicz is able to go in there and get this dub, man. She's a veteran, she's super crafty, and she has a lot of abilities. But I'm gonna have to pick Julia to beat Kawakowicz in that fight, guys. All right. Moving on. Do you support Charlie Kirk? I don't know who the guy is, guys. Guys, like and subscribe if you are new to the channel. Okay. It takes minimal effort to give me the thumbs up, so you might as well do it. Okay. Support the community. All right. Run up these likes and run up these subscriptions. I really never knew Charlie Kirk, to be honest with you. But moving on with my UFC fight predictions, we got Walter Walker versus Muhammad Usman. This is the fight of the two brothers here. Okay, you know what I mean, the fight of two brothers. All right, Muhammad Usman, coming from the lineage of Kamaru Usman, right? Walter Walker, everybody knows who his brother is, right? I mean, look, Walter Walker, he is 3-0. This is not a toss-up for me, in my opinion. Walter Walker is 3-0 in his last 3 fights. He has mastered, okay, the heel hook, okay? And Muhammad Usman, I mean, he's 0-2, guys. He is 0-2 in his last 2 fights. I am not impressed by Muhammad Usman. I wasn't even impressed with Muhammad Usman when he was on the Ultimate Fighter, to be honest with you guys, okay? My only fear here is that Walter Walker doesn't have really good abilities when it comes to his striking. I don't have faith in his striking at all. So maybe Muhammad Usman can find some success on the feet. But at the end of the day, guys, I'm going to go with the 3-0, the 3-0 guy who has mastered the heel hook. Okay, so I'm going to go for Walter Walker, most likely to go in there and get a submission once again, most likely in the early first round when both guys are dry. I mean, Walter Walker has proven that he's able and he has abilities with that heel hook. So I'm going to go for Walter Walker to beat Muhammad Usman. All right, moving on, guys. Okay, we got Lucas Hracha. Okay, Lucas Hracha versus Stuart Nickel. All right, both guys have similar records, guys. Okay, Lucas Hracha is 4-1, and Stuart is 4-1 as well. All right, he's 4-1 as well. When it comes to this fight, it's Stuart definitely wants to take this fight to the ground, in my opinion. You know what I mean? In my opinion, he wants to utilize that wrestling. All right, he has great abilities to wrestle and take his opponents down to the ground, and I think that's the strategy for Stuart Nickel going into this fight with Lucas Hracha, excuse me, because Lucas Hracha, he has a lot of abilities on his feet. Okay, I think his striking is actually better than Stuart Nickel's, to be honest with you. I think Stuart Nickel is going to find himself in a lot of danger if he keeps his fight upright on his feet against Lucas Hracha. Okay, now when it comes to his takedown defense, when it comes to Lucas Hracha's takedown defense, the way he stands is kind of weird. You know what I mean? He stands really tall, really upright, and I think that's most likely the reason why Stuart Nickel is most likely looking to take this fight down, because Lucas Hracha's takedown, his takedown defense is not really up to par. You know what I mean? A lot of people have been able to take down Lucas Hracha. But look, guys, I like Lucas Hracha. I really do. I like his striking. Every fight starts off on the feet. And I think the only way Stuart Nichols wins is if he's able to utilize that wrestling and keep Lucas Hracha on the ground. But at the end of the day, guys, I'm going to go with the striker. And I'm going to go with Lucas Hracha to beat Stuart Nickel, most likely by KO. Most likely in the second round or third round, guys. That is my prediction for that. I'm going for Lucas Racha to beat Stuart Nickel. All right, moving on, guys. We got Bea Mosquita, okay, versus Arena Alexieva, okay. Um, when it comes to Bea, I mean, she's, she hasn't really fought in the UFC. All right, she's new, to fighting in the UFC against these high caliber fighters, but she's 5-0, guys. She is 5-0 outside of the UFC when it comes to Mosquita. And look, similar story here. Similar story here. Mosquita, she has great grappling. If she takes you down now, Mosquita, the way she's able to take you down, I don't have faith in her takedown ability. But she's different. Mosquita is able to grab you, post you against the fence, and even if you show just a little sign of weakness, she'll jump on your back, okay, and she'll submit you on your feet. To be honest with you, but I have no faith in her striking. Unfortunately, Mosquita, I have no faith in her striking. I think when it comes to her striking, she has to work on that. That's one hole in her game that hopefully she's worked on. When it comes to Alexieva, I mean, she has a lot of abilities as well. Most likely, she's going to go in there with a similar game plan to keep this fight standing. But guys, Alexieva gets hit a lot. Okay, she gets hit a lot. All right, it's not like she's out here ducking and dodging punches like Floyd Mayweather. All right, that is pure facts. All right, Alexieva, she probably holds a record for how many strikes has hit her cleanly on the chin. To be honest with you, she is 1-2, okay, in her last 3 fights, while Mosquita is 5-0 in her last fights. Okay, now I understand Mosquita hasn't fought high caliber fighters in the UFC like Alexieva has, but guys, I'm gonna go with the grappler. I'm gonna go with Mosquita to beat Alexieva. I believe she's gonna be able to take down Alexieva, and I do believe Mosquita is gonna show improvements in her striking just because Alexieva is so bad. At her head movement, she just has no ability to get away from the punch. She gets hit a lot. So I think this is a good matchup for Mosquita, especially, one of her first fights in the UFC. So I'm going to go with Mosquita to get most likely an early submission, guys. All right, I'm going to go with Mosquita early submission, probably in the first or second round against Alexieva. All right, moving on, guys. All right. The Davis family. Shout me out, please. What's up, the Davis family? What is going on? Grown man playing with toys, shaking my head. You already know what it is. Grown man coming into another man's chat and spewing hate. Wow. Shaking my fucking head. Ahmed says, brother, can I ask something for my SC project? Oh my God, Chama won. My favorite fighter. He did win. He did win, guys. Don't quit your day job, homie. 90s doomer. Don't quit my day job. Who has a day job, my guy? Who has a day job? I have my own business. What are you talking about? You know what I mean? I can tell right now you're a brokey, okay? 90s doomer. You're a brokey. You know what I mean? Probably just you got no money in your pocket, not even a quarter. Okay, you can't even make noise with your money, not even at all. But anyways, guys, moving on. We got Vitor Petrino. Okay, Vitor Petrino versus Thomas Peterson. Guys, this is a layup. This is a layup for Vitor Petrino, in my opinion. Okay. Vitor Petrino, I don't really like him either. I mean, he's 1-1 in his last 2. Similar record to Thomas Peterson. He's 1-1 in his last 2 as well. I just don't, guys. I mean, I don't like either of these guys, to be honest with you. I don't like Thomas Peterson. I don't like Vitor Petrino. I don't think they have a lot of abilities, to be honest with you. I mean, Vitor Petrino lost against a dead body of Anthony Smith, guys. A dead body of Anthony Smith, okay? So, but I still think Thomas Peterson is a layup. I really do. I still think Thomas Peterson is a layup, considering that Vitor Petrino, has more abilities than Thomas Peterson, to be honest with you. Don't get me wrong. Thomas Peterson, he's a true heavyweight. Vitor Petrino, he's a smaller, guy, in the heavyweight division. But I'm going to go with Vitor Petrino to win this fight, guys. I think Vitor Petrino will do enough, okay, to beat Thomas Peterson. And I think that's what the UFC is looking for, guys. Okay. Moving on, I'm going with Vitor Petrino to beat Thomas Peterson. Moving on, we got Jafil Filho. Okay, Jafil Filho versus Clayton Carpenter. Okay, guys, these guys have similar records as well. 2-1. Jafel Filho, he is 2-1 in his last 3 fights. Clayton Carpenter, he is 2-1 as well. Okay, he is 2-1 as well. Aesthetic says, do you think Duplessis can beat Chimaev in a rematch? That is no. That's a hard no. Okay, that is a hard no, my guy. All right, I don't think he'll be able to beat him. All right, when it comes to Filho, that guy, he has a great overall mixed martial arts style. Great overall mixed martial arts style. Filho is that type of guy that's not afraid to step into the void. He'll stand right in the fire. He'll trade with you. He has great abilities to, whether you want to keep this fight standing on the feet or if you want to, utilize some grappling. Filho has an overall game, man. His mixed martial arts is really good. He keeps the fight very fast paced, and he's wild. Okay, Filho is a wild boy. Okay, he really is. You know what I mean? He'll throw caution into the wind just to get the dub, to be honest with you. Now, when it comes to Clayton Carpenter, he has great Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, some good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He's a good wrestler. Most likely, he's going to want to utilize that wrestling to take down Filho. But I see Filho, doing, good. I see Filho doing good against Clayton Carpenter, even if the fight goes to the ground. Clayton Carpenter, he's a finisher, though. All right, he goes in there. He also throws caution into the wind, and he also hunts people down, in order to get that, the dub and get a finish. You know what I mean? But in my prediction, guys, I'm going to have to, this is also a toss-up, in my opinion. This is going to be a tough fight. This is a toss-up, in my opinion. Both guys are great competitors. But I'm going to have to pick Jafel Filho to beat Clayton Carpenter. I think Filho would outlast Clayton Carpenter, okay? I think, like I said, his abilities to just, come up with a great game plan and utilize his great mixed martial arts skills, I think that's going to put him over the edge against Clayton Carpenter. So I'm going to pick Filho to win this fight, guys. All right, moving on, guys. All right. Aesthetic says, then who do you think can beat Chimaev now? I don't think anybody beat Chimaev right now. I honestly don't think anybody can beat Chimaev right now, okay? What is your favorite submission? My favorite submission will have to be I like arm bars. I like arm bars, and I like heel hooks. I like arm bars and heel hooks. Those are my favorite. I just like the noise of snapping somebody's, shoulder out of place. But anyways, guys, all right, we got Lucas Almeida versus Michael Aswell. All right, Lucas Almeida, he is 1-2 in his last 3. All right, 1-2 in his last 3. And Michael Aswell, he is 0-1. Okay, 0-1 in his last fight. This is a tough one for me, man. This is also a toss up in my opinion. I like Lucas Almeida. I like his abilities as well. Good mixed martial arts fighter. He has some good striking. If the fight hits the ground, he has abilities as well there. I like Michael Aswell. I think Michael Aswell is looking for a dub, man. He is 0-1. Okay, he is 0-1 in his last fight. And I think Aswell is going to step in there, utilize that mixed martial arts skill, come in there with a good game plan. And man, this is hard for me, man. But I think Aswell will be able to take this one. I think Aswell is going to be the guy who's going to be hungrier. He's going to be the guy who he's really going to implement his game plan. And I think Aswell takes this. I think Aswell is going to take this by split decision against Lucas Almeida. But I think this is going to be a good fight. I think this is going to be a good fight. One of those sleeper fights in this card where you don't really think this is going to be one of those fantastic fights. But I think both guys, stylistically, this is going to be a good matchup. So I'm going to have to pick Aswell to beat Almeida, most likely by split decision, guys. This goes 3 rounds, okay? Moving on. All right, we got Ricardo Ramos versus Ken Offley. All right, almost similar records, guys. Ricardo Ramos, he is 1-2. Okay, 1-2 in his last 3 fights, and Ken Offley, he is 1-1. All right, he is 1-1 in in his last 2 fights. Let me read some of these comments. Arm triangle choke. Did you hear what happened to Bones' brother? Yeah, he ended up passing away in his sleep. Sad story, guys. Sad story. Do you like Ilia Topuria and Khabib? I'm not really sold on Ilia Topuria, and I like Khabib. I do like Khabib. I think he has a lot of abilities as well. But going back with my UFC fight prediction, guys. Ricardo Ramos can awfully. When it comes to Ricardo Ramos, he has good striking, good striking. And he comes from a good team. He really does come from a good team. He comes from, I believe, he comes from Team Alpha Male. I'm just hoping that Team Alpha Male, and his team really, implemented a wrestling heavy game plan, against Can. Because in my opinion, the only way Can awfully wins this fight is if he's able to utilize his wrestling and take down Ricardo Ramos and keep him down. That is the key. You can't just take down, Ricardo Ramos and then hope that you can hold him down, because I don't see that happening. I think Ricardo Ramos has a lot of abilities. Even if he's taken down, I think he has a lot of abilities to get back up to his feet. But in my opinion, the only way Can awfully wins is if he's able to utilize that wrestling, take down Ricardo Ramos, keep him down. You know what I mean? Basically, be a fucking wet blanket in there. You know what I mean? But in my opinion, I think Ricardo Ramos is going to be prepared for that. He's going to be prepared for that wrestling. I think Team Alpha Male, with all those wrestlers that they have over there, I think they're going to keep him. They most likely kept him fresh. With that wrestling. So. I think the good striking of Ricardo Ramos is what's going to keep him safe, and I see Ricardo Ramos most likely getting a KO against Can awfully, most likely in the second round, guys. Okay, I'm going to pick Ricardo Ramos to beat Can awfully by knockout in the second round, guys. All right, moving on, guys. We got Janata Denise versus Mario Pinto. All right, Mario Pinto is 10-0. Nobody has beat him. Janetta Denise, he is 2-1 in his last 3. All right. Somebody says haircut look good, bro. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it, guys. I appreciate it. Khabib is the GOAT. Hey, I hear you, guys. All right. Guys, this is an easy one for me. I'm gonna go with Mario Pinto. Continue that winning streak. I don't see Janetta Denise going in there, implementing any game plan to the point where Mario Pinto is actually uncomfortable and he's losing the fight, and all of a sudden, we see something that we never saw from Mario Pinto, and he's running away, and all of a sudden he's about to get knocked out or submitted. That is a false narrative, okay, guys. I think Mario Pinto will go in there, like I said, continue his winning streak. He's 10-0, most likely moving into 11-0 against Janetta Denise. I think that's the way the fight goes, guys. I think Mario Pinto most likely wins by either unanimous decision, okay, or I see Mario Pinto most likely getting an early KO. All right, early KO for Mario Pinto. And if not early KO, it goes to unanimous decision, guys. I'm going to pick Mario Pinto to beat Janetta Denise. Moving on, guys. All right, I'm keeping this rapid fire, guys. Rapid fire. We got Vicente Luque versus Joel Alvarez. When it comes to Vicente Luque, I mean, guys, Vicente Luque has been around for a long time. But Vicente Luque has fought the who's who in that division in the UFC. Vicente Luque has shown abilities everywhere. Okay, great mixed martial arts skill. Preferably, wants to keep this fight standing. But guys, Vicente Luque, he's been around for so long. I think I think that's to the detriment of Vicente Luque, to be honest with you. He's been around for so long. I just think Vicente Luque is just not the same guy that he used to be. I'm just being real. Vicente Luque used to be a threat in that division. And now, I mean, guys, his last loss was against a dead body, okay? A dead body of Kevin Holland, okay? Joel Alvarez is 3-0, guys. 3-0 in his last 3 fights. Vicente Luque 1-2 in his last 3 fights. I'm going to have to pick Joel Alvarez to go in there and surprise everybody. And most likely, I see Joel Alvarez getting a knockout against Vicente Luque. Now, look, that's easier said than done. Now, if Vicente Luque is able to utilize, a good game plan, maybe he gets the dub. He is a veteran. He's super crafty, but I got to go with Joel Alvarez, guys. I'm going to pick Joel Alvarez to continue his winning streak. Excuse me, and most likely win this fight by unanimous decision, guys. I think Joel Alvarez will do enough, and he'll get the unanimous decision win over Vicente Luque, guys. Okay, moving on, guys, to the co-main event of the evening, guys. Okay, the co-main event of the evening. All right, we got Davison Figueiredo, okay, versus Montel Jackson. Okay, Davison Figueiredo, he is 1-2 in his last 3 fights. Montel Jackson, he is 3-0 in his last 3 fights. But guys, this is different. This is a tale of different stories. All right, these two guys are in different spectrums when it comes to their careers, especially right now. When you look at Davison Figueiredo's, last 2 losses, guys, you got to take into consideration those 2 losses came from top-notch competitors. I'm talking, he lost against Peter Yan, and he lost against Corey Sandhagen. Corey Sandhagen just went 5 rounds with the champion, guys, with Merab. Okay, very impressive loss for Corey Sandhagen. All right, showed a lot of abilities in that fight. He did better than Sean O'Malley, in my opinion. Okay. So a lot of people are counting out Davison Figueiredo. They're counting out Davison Figueiredo. A lot of people think Montel Jackson is going to go in there and outlast Davison Figueiredo because he has a lot of abilities. He's on this nice winning streak, real comfortable winning streak, 3-0 in his last 3 fights. Like I said, Montel Jackson, great mixed martial arts skills, preferably wants to keep this fight standing. He's a good striker. If the fight hits the ground, he has a lot of abilities on the ground, but preferably he wants to get back up to his feet and keep this fight standing. But guys, Davison Figueiredo, like I said, he's fought the who's who in that division. Figueiredo is a former champion, okay? Fought and beaten champions, okay? Like I said, yes, he has a 1-2 record in his last 3, but guys, you have to look at the backstory, and he's lost against the who's who, Peter Yan and Corey Sandhagen. I still think Davison Figueiredo is a threat. I still think Davison Figueiredo has a lot of abilities, and I see Davison Figueiredo winning this fight by unanimous decision against Montel Jackson, guys, okay? I'm going with Davison Figueiredo to win this by unanimous decision against the up-and-comer in Montel Jackson, guys, okay? I'm picking Davison Figueiredo. Moving on, guys, to the main event of the evening, guys, okay? Like and subscribe if you are new to the channel, guys, okay? Run up these likes, run up these subscriptions. Like I always say, guys, this is your channel, okay? I am just a pilot, all right? The only channel where the fans come first, not last. All right, let me make sure my mic is hot. Guys, we got Charles Oliveira, okay? Charles Oliveira versus Mateusz Gamrot, okay? Charles Oliveira was supposed to fight Rafael Fiziev. Rafael Fiziev falls out due to injury. Once again, Rafael Fiziev has no ability to stay healthy, guys, okay? Mateusz Gamrot steps in on short notice, okay? He is 2-1, okay? 2-1 in his last 3 fights. Mateusz Gamrot, he's just, he's one of those guys. He is one of those guys. He great ability when it comes to his overall mixed martial arts skills. If you want to stand and bang with him, he can stand and bang with you. He has no fear to stand right there in the void and throw some punches. He'll take some punches to land some punches. I guarantee you that one. Mateusz Gamrot also has abilities on the ground as well, abilities to get back up to his feet. Mateusz Gamrot's last loss was against Dan Hooker. Okay, I believe it was a split decision loss against Dan Hooker. That was a fantastic fight. Gamrot still looked good in that fight, to be real with you. Charles Oliveira, he is 1-2. Okay, 1-2 in his last 3. Similar story to, Davison Figueiredo, to be honest with you. You got to look at the backstory of who Charles Oliveira has lost against. Charles Oliveira is a legend in this game. Former champ, okay, fought the who's who in the UFC, respectively, in that division as well. Okay, his 2 last losses were against top-notch competitors, okay? We're talking his last loss was against Ilia Topuria, okay, and Arman Tsarukyan, 2 guys who arguably should be fighting, each other for that strap, to be honest with you. But unfortunately, the UFC has other, ideas, because now Arman Tsarukyan will be fighting Dan Hooker, okay, for that #1 contender spot to fight Ilia Topuria. Most likely, Ilia Topuria is fighting Justin Gaethje, most likely in December, but that's another topic, guys. Okay, that is a whole nother topic. But yeah, guys, when it comes to Charles Oliveira, he lost against the who's who. You know, I still believe that Charles Oliveira has a lot of abilities. I really do. Now, guys, don't get me wrong. I am afraid. I'm a little cautious. I'm not afraid. I'm cautious. I'm cautious with my pick because Charles Oliveira did get knocked out by Ilia Topuria, and I always believe after you get knocked out, you should take. You know, in my opinion, you should take 6 months. I think. I think it takes 6 months for your brain to recover from getting knocked out. In my opinion. Okay, so I've always believed that. So that's why, I'm very, very cautious when it comes to my pick when it comes to Charles Oliveira and Mateusz Gamrot. I think Mateusz Gamrot's ability to bring the fight to Charles Oliveira, that's going to be scary. You know what I mean? Especially with what type of condition Charles Oliveira is in. You know what I mean? Is he ready to go against, a Mateusz Gamrot, a guy who's going to step in and throw some punches and throw caution into the wind, and most likely is going to look for the knockout early on in this fight? Or should I go for Charles Oliveira, the guy who's a veteran, super crafty, has a lot of abilities. He's elite when it comes to his submission. I'm talking elite when it comes to his submissions. This is a tough one for me, guys. It really is. It's a tough one for me just because, guys, like I said, Charles Oliveira got knocked out by Ilia Topuria, and it has not been 6 months. It has not even been 4 months. You know what I mean? So, guys, I'm going to go with Charles Oliveira. Okay? I'm going to go with Charles Oliveira to beat Mateusz Gamrot. I think the short notice fight for Mateusz Gamrot puts him in a good position to beat Charles Oliveira. But I think Charles Oliveira is too elite. I think his ability to take the fight to the ground and make the fight just a little bit more simpler. You know what I mean? I think Charles Oliveira will be able to take down Mateusz Gamrot and utilize his great Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and most likely win this fight by unanimous decision. Sorry. He's most likely going to win this fight by submission. I see a rear naked choke most likely in the early first or second round, guys. I'm going to pick Charles Oliveira to win this fight against Mateusz Gamrot, okay, by rear naked choke, second round or first round, guys. That is my pick. That is my pick for my UFC fight predictions, okay, for this card this Saturday, headlined by Charles Oliveira and Mateusz Gamrot. All right, those are my picks right there. Let me read some of these comments. Sun Guy says, Google says it takes 8 months to recover from a KO. Well, I say 6 months. I say 6 months. 8 months would be better. In my opinion, 8 months would definitely be better. But I say 6 months is solid. Okay, 6 months is solid. But anyways, guys, that's my UFC fight predictions for this card headlined by Charles Oliveira and Mateusz Gamrot. When it comes to my UFC fight predictions for 2025, guys, I'm 222 wins, okay, and 149 losses, guys. That's 222 wins and 149 losses, guys. We're going to continue getting these dubs, and hopefully, I almost, early on in 2025, I almost had a perfect prediction card, okay, so I'm hoping, with this card, I can get just all dubs. That'll be just great for me, okay? No losses. That's what I'm looking for. But we shall see, okay? Easier said than done. All right. I won't be going live this Saturday for this event. All right. I do have things going on this Saturday, so I won't be going live for this event. All right. But I'll be watching, okay? I will be watching closely, and I'll keep my eye on my UFC fight prediction, guys. That is for damn sure. All right. But you already know what this is, guys. Okay, this is OE MMA TV. I'm your host, OE. Like and subscribe if you are new to the channel. It takes minimal effort to give me the thumbs up, so you might as well do it. Thank you for supporting independent MMA media, guys. And like I always say, this is your channel. The only channel where the fans come first, not last. All right, guys. You already know what it is. Until next time. Peace. Bless.